So it is Nicholas Gibbs today, and Nicholas Gibbs. I did want to tell you, I have a big shock for you, a big surprise.
What's that?
I'm about to invest in Bitcoin.
Shut up.
Well, okay. I think when I tell you what I tell you, you're going to do it too. Rachel
What do you?
Maddow. Rachel Maddow just
Oh,
Rachel Maddow just came out and said it's an obvious scam. So therefore, it must be legit. So I'm in. I'm in.
scam. People use that word too liberally. No pun intended either.
No.
Uh,
So that didn't convince you to jump in, huh?
no.
Ah, I see.
Uh, and I most certainly don't think it's a scam.
Right.
Like that's who's scamming who then?
Exactly right. Yes.
Like there has to to scam someone, there has to be a nefarious actor on one end. And the
Yeah.
whole point of Bitcoin is there is no
Oh, no,
actor on the other. Like it's literally, it,
the
it can't
opposite.
be a
Yeah.
scam. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. Anyway, I thought that was fun. Anyway, Tesla's action today on the market was wild. I mean, up and down and all around. And then at the end of the day, it was all for nothing. And I couldn't find any news to justify, well, not any significant news to justify any of it. What did you think about the action and where do we go from here?
we're gonna keep going up. Is my opinion. And as I always say, that's my opinion as of today, December 2nd.
Right.
Tomorrow, everything could change. But no, I think we continue moving up. I mean, the momentum looks like we're moving up. Uh, every, there's just lots of good news. I mean, everything happening in Europe over the weekend that we were seeing, all the tests. I know you're going to talk about China, good China numbers. I mean, you can go on and on. Like everything right now is being really constructive for Tesla. Uh, FSD is, clearly solved. They've clearly solved it. It's just now about scaling and the infrastructure and like Elon said, essentially building the software layer of like what Uber is. They have to build that from scratch, and I think that's what they've been working on. But if you look at Tesla from a monthly perspective, it's still in a very bullish uptrend
Mm.
overall. If you look at it from a weekly perspective, Tesla has gone from a healthy pullback to now it's going back into an upward swing. And if you look at it from a daily perspective, once again, you can see that we are clearly moving higher. And I think most people probably resonate more with a daily perspective. So that probably aligns with everybody's view. We were sitting there between touch and go 390 and 405, and now we're solidly, high 320s, 330.
Four, four, four,
Uh,
four, four, four.
or four. Sorry, excuse me. Thank you,
I know.
everyone.
So,
I'm just making sure everyone's awake.
yeah, that's
That's
right.
all.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, so I think things are really constructive with Tesla right now. But that's Tesla we're talking about, and
Yeah.
that is not that's not accounting for what may or may not happen with the macro. So that's why I say like this is my in the moment.
Right.
In a snap of a finger, the whole market could tank and Tesla will also go down. So, but the market seems like it wants to go up. It seems like it really wants to go into a Santa rally. I mean, it feels like that.
Hmm.
It's you see everything off of the if you look at the greed and fear index, a little
Yep.
fancy meter. We were
Mhm.
we were at a 4 at one point, and now we're getting out of extreme fear. So I just I don't see anything really to warrant it not to continue go up. I mean, sideways it could do that as well, but I think sideways to up makes the most sense right now, and I think we've had a healthy pullback, and it's constructive. So
All right. That sounds like good news to me. Well, you did mention China, but then you also did mention Europe. So let's go to Europe first. We've got France. Apparently, a publication, a journalist over there did some FSD testing over the last couple of days, and he's about to produce a very positive video. about FSD in France. We had, as you pointed out, some stuff coming in from I think from Spain last week and maybe
Yep.
Germany. And so, what was your overall take on what you're seeing?
I mean, it seems like Tesla, it's more so on Tesla than on these tests, right? No, I don't want us to say it right. Let me explain myself. It shows that Tesla is very confident now in the same way that we are, or I don't
Hmm.
want to speak for you, but that I am with this version, with just the 14 branch in general, and even the last branch in 13 or the last version. Tesla's just as confident now to the point where they're making a serious press for it.
Hmm.
And I think it's because they think like, it's 95.5, right? Those are the odds.
Hmm.
95% everything's going to go good. 5% chance, hey, there's a hiccup, and you like those odds. And so they're saying it's time to go kind of full court press on Europe, and we're going to start making some noise. And I think that's what they're doing.
Hmm.
And I I think 2026 we will have FSD approval for Europe.
Yeah, yeah. And hopefully even more approvals from China and elsewhere in terms of full autonomy, without a rider. So speaking of China shipments today, the numbers were about perfect. Almost exactly what Brian Wang and I were talking about, although we did miss October. We thought that the numbers would still be strong in October, but to me, it says there's no reason. December is a good month for China. They're sold out according to the reporting. So we should be looking at 90 plus in December. So with that, I think I said this morning on my show, I think 500,000 is back in play.
Um, yeah, I've been saying this for a while. It's not a cop out. I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Whether it's 450 or 500, I mean, sure, a record delivery numbers. Yeah, obviously, the market will like that. Um, or maybe they won't. I don't know. Maybe they just won't care. But I don't think it's gonna be a bad number. So I think the, at this point the deliveries are so benign. It's
Yeah.
so irrelevant. It's
Yeah.
only relevant if it's like, hey, we're just not selling cars, so now we don't make any money. Then there's cause for concern. But it's all about FSD. It's all about robo taxis,
Right.
and I just think that's where the focus is. Like nobody is paying $400 something for Tesla for a $500,000 or a 500,000 delivery.
Right.
No one is.
No, no.
That it's not what they care about. So, and I think Elon has successfully shaken a lot of people out of the stock by saying, if you do not believe in this, get out.
Get out.
You don't
Yeah.
need to be in this. Yeah. So, um, yeah. So those are my thoughts.
So one guy has gotten out. In fact, he's short. He's a guy named Michael Burry, famous for
Mm.
doing one thing in his entire life that he was right about. You've been right more than Michael Burry. He definitely is trying to move the stock, and it turns out today he is already short. So, what do you think about this? Is his action of trying to use his fame to push the stock down, is that self-dealing? Is it smack of like a something that's on the verge of being illegal, or is this just a one-trick pony who's trying to redeem himself?
I don't think it's any of that, to be honest.
Okay.
I think I don't think he's trying to do anything. To honestly, I think he is just sharing his current opinion and his current trades. I think that's all he's doing. Um, like let's just use the Nvidia or Palantir. I forget which one it was. I think it was Nvidia, where CNBC reported that Burry had a $900 million short on Nvidia. Okay, no, he didn't. He had a 9 million short, and 9 million is like nothing for his portfolio. And he just sold some. He just bought some puts. That's all he did.
Hmm.
All right, and CNBC is the one that ran with this. They're the ones that really sensationalize this.
Mhm.
The guy, he just posted on his X. It's he's not the one who's like amplifying all of this. It's
Mhm.
everyone else. So I can't blame him for it. He's just saying like, "Hey, this is what I did. This is my point of view."
Yeah.
I can't fault him for that. It's everyone else that's taking things out of context or blowing it up, or CNBC saying, "Well, the notional value of 9 million in puts would be $1 billion." I was like, okay, not exactly how that works,
Right.
because it's not like he would actually pay $1 billion or
Yes.
actually uh, take assignment. So or it's not like he actually has it to be able to sell it. So it's just a mischaracterization by people who don't actually understand how options work. And no, like with the Tesla thing, again, I don't agree with him,
Mhm.
but I also don't think I don't think it's cogent to say that he has a axe to grind with Tesla and that he thinks he's trying to take Tesla down. He might just have a little short on Tesla. Like it might be $1,000 for all you know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the big short was a one-time thing. It was probably a once in a lifetime situation where he saw something that was extremely dislocated
Mhm.
to the point where he went and had a instrument created so he could short the illiquid bonds.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. And it worked out well for him after a while. And it was great. It wasn't great, but like it was great for him. It was a great trade. It was a great move. Like it was a stroke of genius. But that doesn't mean every trade he puts on from there after means that he thinks that they're going to zero or they're a fraud or everything's going to go bankrupt. Like, look, sometimes people think a stock's frothy, they short it, and the stock goes down, and then they're out.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
That's trading. That's
Yeah.
that's normal back and forth. Like personally, I don't like to short things, unless it's like for protection, and I wouldn't call that protection. That's a hedge at that point. I mean, I guess we're splitting hairs there.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think there's just this mischaracterization, and I think again, I don't agree with him. I
Mhm.
don't think
Mhm.
it's smart to be buying puts on Tesla right now. But at the same time, I can't blame him for what the media does.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That'd be like me blaming Elon for saying something gets taken out of context and then by the media and then blaming Elon for it. It's like, no, Elon's just saying what he says. And if you're going to snip it and take it out of context, and same with Burry, he's just sharing a trade. And if you're going to take a trade out of context and make it sound like he thinks this company is a fraud and it's going to go to zero and it's all fugazi, well, that's not accurate either. So again, I don't agree with his short. I think he's going to once again get burnt by it, but that's also kind of the game. You have 100 shorts, one pans out, covers the losses, and gives you a little gain. Like that's the game.
All right. Well, switching subjects entirely then. The New York Times did an opinion piece or allowed an opinion piece to run because doesn't mean they agree with it. But an opinion piece today written by Dr. John Slotkin. He's not anybody I know anything about, but he says that autonomous cars are now so safe that it becomes a public safety issue. And this is only after he rode in Waymo, not even riding in a Tesla autonomous vehicle. So this would be a little bit, I don't know whether you and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, it's time for Tesla to change the story from begging for permission from NISTA and others to claiming that this should be a public safety issue and it should be required in all vehicles. And that, give them 3 years, but they should be going from they should be the car companies should be required to have an equivalent of FSD within 3 years. And the basis of my argument is that passive restraints only save 4,000 lives a year. All that effort, all that work to save 4,000 lives a year, and Tesla FSD, if it was in all vehicles, would save 36,000 lives a year just in the United States.
Yeah, I think the only issue with that is let's say that were to happen.
Mhm.
I could see there being a world where they say, you know what, Randy, you're right. It's such a public safety issue that we need, as the government, to seize control of this software because it's no different than like a public utility, and we need to regulate this, and it needs to be applied to everyone. I'd be scared that something, you know, extreme like that would happen. I would rather the government stay out of it and just let the market work.
Well, we know this about you. Okay. I could have predicted that you would say the government should stay out of it. And in general, I would agree with you. But if in fact NISTA exists for a reason, we had the Pinto, we had all these things over the years, which, all these lawsuits. And if the reason that they exist is to incorporate the latest safety devices into the cars and make sure that they're as safe as they can possibly be, I don't know why. And I agree with you. There's always a possibility of your negative result, but the truth is, it's way safer. In fact, this guy, Dr. John Slotkin, goes on to say, there's hardly anything you could do right now. There's hardly any disease or gun controls or any other things that people are begging for that they think are going to save a lot of lives. There's no way else you're going to go and get 36,000 lives.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree, but it's the how do we achieve it though? I don't think mandating it is the answer. I more so like the idea of kind of how the ZEV credits worked. So maybe as a company, forget the company. Maybe I feel like you should just use like a financial penalty, whether it's to a company. That doesn't really make sense because if if Jessica bought the car, sorry if there's Jessica out there, but if Jessica bought the car and she crashed it, well, why is that Ford's fault? It's not. But I guess what you could say is it could be Ford's fault if she crashed and she was on her cell phone and she, with the proper cameras and safety software, could be like, hey, stop texting and driving. Like, I think stuff like that would be better.
So what you're looking at is my next point. So in other words, there could be lawsuits. There could be people who get injured or their car gets destroyed or they get killed. So their family goes after Ford, goes after General Motors because they are well aware. I'm going to use a little of my legal background here. They're well aware of the potential for saving lives and saving accidents and saving property damage, but they're not doing it. They're not doing what they could do. So this would be like if you had tires that were, not working very well, were blowing up or whatever, and other people had tires that never blew up, and you say, well, I'm not going to spend the extra for those tires, or I'm not going to pay extra to put on better windshield wipers that actually work or something.
I take back what I said. I don't like what I said. That's too much government control in there too, still. I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree because to say that they're not trying, I think is disingenuous. They are trying. They just can't. It's like if I put you on the football field or let's say a basketball court with LeBron James and Luka Doncic and all of them and say, all right, Randy, keep up. And you're like, I'm trying. I just can't. And I think Ford and GM and all them, I do think they're trying. I definitely think they're putting money towards this, but they just can't.
But if I am a lawyer, I'm going to say, I don't care how hard you're trying. All you got to do is go down the street and talk to Elon. And you may not like the price you have to pay, but the price, I don't care about the price because we're talking about a lost life here. We're talking about a little child that was killed in the back seat, and the jury goes, give him 10 million, give him as much as.
But they know the risk. I would. They know the risk.
Who knows?
I would much rather
the baby in the back seat.
The parent that's responsible for that kid.
And the other car, the car that was not responsible for the accident at all. The pedestrian.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
They all know. Yes.
No,
I'm sorry.
but then
If you're on the road, you know the risk.
all right, then there's no insurance at all. There's no liability for anybody then because we all know the risk.
No, no, that's not. No, no, no. There's a difference between suing a mandate that you have something, some type of software, versus saying, I know the risk, and if I screw up or if something happens, that there's someone who's responsible. So there's always a responsible party, but I don't think that goes to the company. I think that
But
goes to the individual doing the task.
but it does. I can tell you as a manufacturer and as a wholesaler all these years, I'm paying all kinds of money for product liability insurance because all it takes is one accident and I'm out of business. I'm just putting
Mm,
I'm just putting tire liners in a tire to prevent puncture flats. But if that tire liner creates a puncture, which it's possible, it doesn't happen often, but once in a while that tire liner creates the puncture, and I know that that's a possibility. Believe me, the person that got injured is going to sue and win.
um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that clean in general. I mean, it just sounds like a very nuanced, specific
All
example
right,
that you
so
have there that you know of. But I,
I gave I
because
gave I gave the
I
customer
could say this all day. I could say this all day. We could do this all day. Hey, I know that the house could burn down, and the house doesn't come with a fire extinguisher, or it doesn't come with a CO2 system, or the sprinklers aren't made in the house to handle a grease fire. Like, you go all day, right? So like I don't think that's exactly how it would work.
But that is how it works in houses. If you are businesses, you have to have X number of fire extinguishers. You have to, I got into a huge
But what
thing.
if there's a grease fire?
Well, but that assumes now all the things that you know. It assumes knowledge. It assumes the availability of whatever it is. It assumes that it's in
Okay.
the codes probably. And if it's a homeowner decision, it might have to be in the codes. Okay, but there's codes. There's codes for what do you call it? Smoke detectors. There's codes for and if your smoke detector is not working or or you don't have it where it belongs, you could be liable for the guest who gets hurt in a fire in your home.
We're never going to agree on this. I don't like lawyers. I think lawyers are scum of the earth unless they're patent attorneys, to be honest.
Yeah,
And no, I'm being hyperbolic. I don't think they're
yeah.
scum of the earth. I don't like the way the law is implemented in this country. In my opinion, the reason I say that is because we're one of the few countries where someone can sue a counterparty
Mhm.
and they can just lose the case, and whatever that is, that's it, is what it is. But in most other countries, if Randy were to sue me and Randy were to lose, Randy has to pay me, and that keeps a balance. But no, I listen. We're boring the audience with this. We're never going to agree on this. I I don't think that there should be any pressure through the government or through the law. I think the best product will win out. I think the most convenient, the safest will win out. Let it be. Stop putting. I feel like what you're doing is not a good solution to the
All right.
problem.
So
The
so
problem, the problem is Tesla
yeah.
needs to be better about telling people, advertising, demonstrating
Getting a
what
demand,
they have.
getting the
Yes.
demand up, get the demand up.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
Stop. We can't always sit there and blame the government. We can't always sit there and blame is like try to find these other listen, what's easier to change the law, Randy, or to make these regulations or to have these mandates of requirement or print a freaking ad during the Super Bowl?
okay, I'm all for that. And you know that I didn't go to law. I went to law school and then didn't practice because I hate the law and or like you, a little too hyperbolic. But there are many aspects, and in particular, product liability is one that drives me nuts. But I'm only talking right now within the scope of the existing rules, existing agencies' requirements and what they're in business to do, existing legal constructs that are out there. I'm not trying to say I necessarily agree with any of it. I'm not sure maybe
If
NIST shouldn't even exist, okay, as an agency,
if
but it does.
if what you're saying was cogent, then there would already be lawsuits against these other companies, but there
Yeah,
aren't.
it'll be interesting to see that. If you can get a $10 million judgment off of somebody dropping a too hot coffee in your lap or something, why would this be so far-fetched?
No, but we look. I feel like it I feel like that's a very niche example
That
that
was the
people
most
like to,
ridiculous example of all time.
and people use that as always their straw man, but I think it's a bit axiomatic to just understand that that's not how these things actually flush out.
What about Pinto?
Like, again, like these one-offs are one-offs for a reason. There's a reason why they don't keep happening.
Because the companies recognize that it can happen to them now, and the insurance companies come in. Believe me, the insurance companies are more aware of this stuff than the companies are. I can't tell you how many times my insurance company came in and said, "You can't stack this that high in your warehouse. You can't. Where's your fire extinguisher? You want to keep your fire insurance? You're going to have to do these things." So there's a set of things that are going on. I'm only saying that it might inure to Tesla's benefit right now, whether or not we like the method.
Keep government out of it. Keep lawyers out of it. Best product will win. Talk about the safety, demonstrate the safety, advertise. The whole world will follow.
All right. So what do you think about my idea to change get the ladies at MAD to change their name to Mothers
Wait,
Against,
what?
MAD, the MAD group, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers?
Oh,
I was thinking they could change it to Mothers Against Meat Drivers.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, you didn't know there was a Mothers Against Drunk Drivers? Oh,
Mams, mams, mams.
Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, MADD, MAD, because they're
Yeah,
mad drunk drivers.
but you're saying MAMD.
Yeah,
Mams.
Mothers Against Meat Drivers. Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't ring as well.
Okay. Let's see. We
You
are
could do. You could still do mad with a silent H.
H. Yeah, yeah,
Mothers against human drivers.
yeah.
Still mad.
Or mod. You would say it. You wouldn't say it's a mod. Yeah.
Mod.
All right.
Yeah.
The decision by the Fed is 1 week and 1 day away. You have been very clear that you believe the Fed is going to reduce the rate by 25%, 25 basis points. We've got a lot of conversation right now about the next Fed chairman. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm curious. What are the current odds? I don't even know.
Last time I checked, it's 80 something.
Well, lucky for you, I'm doing it real time. 89.2%.
89 now. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, I was saying this during the last meeting, and when everyone thought against him, we were down to 30% a couple weeks ago. Yeah, look, we're gonna get a rate cut. It's interesting. This whole setup's been interesting, where Jerome came out very hawkish, essentially saying, it's not a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And then he let some of the other Fed speakers come out and essentially change the narrative once again. And it's interesting to see Jerome not control the narrative for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost feel like there's a little dog and pony, or not dog and pony. I feel like there's a little game being played here to make the Fed chairman almost seem like they have less power. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but as he's about to give up his seat, it's almost like there's an obvious changing of guard coming, and we're trying to blunt whoever comes in. That's kind of how it feels to me.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, because right now you have a split Fed, and according to my research, the last time we had a split Fed was like 1968 or something. And it's pretty much split down the middle with the Doves currently leading, but Powell might end up having almost a deciding vote, even though it's 12, and so you can't, you could have 6 against 6. But anyway, that's kind of where we are right now. So, what do you think? I'm assuming that you agree with the betting odds that has it wrapped up. What do you think about Hassett?
Yeah, we talked about this last week where, before the odds even had it up, that was kind of like the rumor. And I was telling you last week that I thought they were kind of leaking this out just to see how they were market testing it, and the market liked it. And I think it's his seat now. I think he's going to be the next Fed chairman.
Mhm.
So that means Trump's the new Fed chairman in reality. And in many ways, we essentially don't have a Fed anymore, which honestly, at this point, I'm kind of on board with.
Yeah.
I, I, I know that might sound weird. We haven't always had a Fed, right? I
Right.
mean, we have for a long time, essentially since like 1907 or whenever they were founded. Um, but if you look back in history, the big mistakes have come from the Fed.
Right. Right.
The Fed are the ones that have historically screwed things up. And I think even if there was a benevolent, apolitical nature to a Fed at one point, those days are gone.
Yeah.
The Fed's very politicized now. Everything's politicized at this point. And I think the best thing you can do is not have this extra branch of government that's not needed. So, look, Jerome and team were too late to raise rates.
Mhm.
They had this whole transitory narrative. They're wrong. Now they've been, in my opinion, too late. And you can say, well, rates, inflation's not down. It's like, okay, well, you can't have it both ways. Either the tariffs do have an inflationary effect, and the fact that we're only sitting here at 3% tells you that we're actually lower than that, because if we didn't have the tariffs, we'd be lower because tariffs have an inflationary effect, right, Randy? So if that's true, then he should be cutting, because we're only sitting here at 3%. And once we lap a year, you're going to see how negative inflation truly is.
Right.
That's a problem. Or tariffs don't really have an inflationary effect. And sure, we do have this issue, but then the Fed's still screwing up because, well, they're cutting rates. So either way, they're screwing up. Now you can keep going back. In the .com era, they started raising rates, and that tanked the market.
Right.
You can see everything that essentially happened during 08, 09, what they were doing there. Go back to Volcker days. Why is Volcker so famous? Well, because the previous Fed screwed up.
Yeah.
So you can go on and on. Even the Great Depression,
Right. Right.
that was screwed up by the Fed because
Always
they didn't come in and use the tools they could have had, but they were also using tools to stop people from
investing.
investing in the stock market. They were trying to end leverage. So over and over, the Fed is a good idea on paper, but the execution just really hasn't been there. I do think we've had some good Fed chairmen. I think Bernanke, I think he did some good stuff. He walked into a very tough situation. Uh, I think, yeah. So I don't know. I just think at this point, we should just let the market work. Once again, get the government out of it, let the market do what it's going to do. And look, if we crash, we crash, but that's healthy. That's part of life. You get sick sometimes. That's normal. Sometimes even the U.S. economy has to get punched in the face, and it sucks. But it's better to do that and recover properly than to play all these, sleight of hand games, which is what the Fed essentially does.
So just
Sorry, one last thing, and they do it behind this cloak
yeah,
of we're
yeah,
doing it for the people out there who can't afford anything.
right. Right.
It's like, you idiots. By raising rates, you just make it harder on them.
Right.
And when you raise rates, all you're doing is prolonging the issue, right? So it's just insane. And then they're also the ones that create inflation, because they're the ones that print the money, right? So it's just on and on. Like, the Fed's the problem every single time. So anyway, I'll stop.
So there will almost certainly continue to be a Fed, although some people have said that Hassett will completely reform it, in so many ways. Hopefully, he'll send home about three-quarters of the PhDs that are helping to screw it up. But one thought that I had a few weeks ago was, what if I know you can't mandate this, you can't put it in the law, but shouldn't their default position be to work with the president, whoever that is? And they should only be working against the president in extremis when there's something really significant that there's economically, not for other reasons, but just when they see that the things are just going extremely bad, then they might work against the president. But this Fed seems to be intent on working against Trump both terms.
So yeah, again, on paper, I can paint what you're saying in a good scenario, right? But the problem is, what is the steel man to that good scenario look like? And I think that's where things become troublesome. And the reality is that steel man that becomes troublesome, I think that would become the de facto norm. Which, look, we have a independent Fed right now, and even with the independent Fed,
It's
Randy, that is what's happening.
right.
So even when it's supposed to be all independent and we don't work with presidents or anything, it's like, okay, why did you take so long to raise rates?
Yeah.
Why did you print for so long? Why do you guys keep printing even after we were at 9% inflation? Why? Why did you take so long to cut?
Why did you lower rates just before the election?
Exactly. That's a great one, right? And literally everybody, me myself, thought no way they will cut rates, right? But like, there's no way. Jerome Powell doesn't want to seem political.
Right.
Honestly, I would have bet so much money that there's no freaking way he would do it. What was it, September? There's no freaking way he would do that. A month and a half before the election? No freaking way. You would have thought impossible. That's why I was convinced they were going to do it in July.
Yeah.
I was convinced.
Yeah.
They have to. They need some gap. Nope. Let's do it right then. But so that's what I'm saying. It's like, on paper, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, the president has an agenda with his Treasury Secretary, and they're going to have this vision for how they're going to put the economy and what they're going to try to do. And so obviously you want that to work hand in hand with the Fed, so they understand the playbook, so that then they can, hey, we're not telling you what to do, but we want you to understand our playbook, so that then you can make cogent decisions.
Right.
Yeah, that makes so much sense on paper. Same way the Fed makes sense on paper. The same way the idea of communism, all that makes sense on paper. It's a beautiful idea. Right? Like, hey, we all work together. I'm not going
to go that far. I'm not going to agree with you, but we have to hold that for another day. All right. So on the subject of inflation, I think it's really funny that you're saying inflation is still at 3%, because that is what the headline says. That's what the Democrats are saying. That's what everybody seems to be saying. And yet the numbers came out yesterday from
Trueflation is what you're looking for.
Well, I'm looking for trueflation, but trueflation gets around other people. Okay. So on rents yesterday, not Zillow, the other one, Redfin. Redfin came out and said rents are down 1%. Down. Not up, not even, down 1%. I made a big, long argument this morning in my show talking about, if rents go down, housing prices go down, because you've got the marginal decision maker in the middle who's renting now, who's deciding if they should buy. And if their rent goes down, and all of a sudden the difference between the rent and the potential mortgage becomes a bigger deal, then the marginal buyer decides to stay in the rental. So, and that takes one person away from the housing market. So if you've got housing already, as you've pointed out very early, if you've got housing heading down or heading, not doing great in terms of increasing, great for those of us who like to see our home values go up. But if you've got housing already kind of flat, and then you got rents going down, and grocery prices, according to Trueflation, right now, 0.5% year over year. So we know about gasoline prices. So how in the world are we still at 3% when Trueflation says we're about 2.5% at the most?
Well, because Trueflation, I could be wrong about this, but Trueflation isn't looking at again, I could be wrong about this. I used to know the answer to this. I don't know it anymore, at least not where I'm confident, but I don't think that Trueflation is actually looking at a trailing 12 months, right? Like,
they do it a lot of different ways. They do an aggregate, and they do a trailing, and they do an overnight.
Okay, and what are they saying for trailing 12 months?
They're saying right now, their PCE equivalent is at like 2.26.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's about right.
Yeah,
like that's accurate.
2.26.
No, I know, but trueflation has always been about 1 point lower than what we get from PCE or CPI. Like it's been like that for years now. So I would say, like, who cares what's right? Like, it doesn't matter which one's right. If it's 2 or 3, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If we're okay, we get it. That's your measuring stick. That's how we measure.
Right.
Is it going up or down?
Mm-hmm.
Do we go from 3 to 4,
Mm-hmm.
or do we go from 3 to 2? Yeah, like let's just look at the trends. So we know that there's always about a 1 point delta between them, and let's just see where it goes. And I would say right now, if anything, it's holding kind of steady. But I think we're gonna lap. I think 2026, where you're really gonna start to see these numbers collapse.
And the Fed chairman has also said that between point 0.4 and point 0.6 of the amount right now is tariffs. So even if you do the
Which
other
sounds
thing,
about right. You
yeah,
know, like that sounds about right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then if you subtract that from 3%, you're down to 2.4, 2.5. So the Fed chairman should be going, I think we can cut at 2.4, 2.5. I mean,
And I think he is saying that.
okay.
I do think Jerome Powell, like, I think Jerome Powell is, his words may be hawkish, but I think he wants to cut. I
Okay.
think he thinks it's the right thing to do. You know, I in a weird way, like I think that he's made a lot of mistakes, but I will I will give him some credit. I do think he's been right to not cut as fast as we all want him to.
Hmm. Hmm. I would
I
have liked
think
this. The only reason that I disagree with you, and I think in general I agree with you, but the reason I don't is because of this bifurcated economy where the things that are in real trouble, like manufacturing, like transportation, et cetera, all durable goods, all of those are the most impacted by the Fed's interest rate. And as those interest rates come down, those are the sectors that will get the most boost.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But that's literally what he's trying to do, is to slow things down. And I think the reason he's cutting now is like, okay, we are off the accelerator and I'm trying to glide to the stop sign.
Okay.
And, every once in a while, like you gotta let off the brake a little bit, put it on a little bit, and I
Or
think that's
just
what they're trying to feather it. They're trying to I mean, look, they are we have a Fed, so you gotta deal with that. And I wouldn't want to be in that position. Um, yeah, I don't know.
okay. Well, listen, you do want to be in one position though, and that is you want to be giving your view on how people should trade their options. And I understand you're going to be doing that one more time this year. You're going to have a day. I guess it's a
Yes.
Saturday, right?
Yes, Saturday, December 20th. We are essentially full. I've got a couple more spots opened up. Some people had to, and yes, I have more to
December
say later,
20th.
but yeah, it's December 20th. Sorry, I'm horrible at this. December 20th. If you want to learn about options, if you want to, you don't need to know anything, but if you want to learn about, it's 6 hours long. It's gonna be 6 hours long. I'll tell you guys right now. It's $1,000 to sign up. It's 6 hours long. You don't need to know anything, but I'm going to teach you options from beginning to end, and I will show you what I do. And again, I stress this to everybody. The idea is not for you to copy and paste what I do. The idea is to understand, learn how options work, understand what I do, why I've been so successful with them, and then take that and use that as a building block for yourself, right? So I use this as a whole extra income stream for myself. Does pretty good. But if you're interested, reach out to me. Just send me a DM on X. You can see my X handle right there. Oh, right there. Send me a DM that you want. But I will tell you, even if you've reached out but you haven't paid yet, your spot's not secured. So it's whoever's paid until you've paid. Deadline's December 8th. Everybody must be paid up by December 8th, or maybe I'll do another one next year. I don't know. Haven't decided. I kind of think this might be the last one, but
Oh,
I'll
wow.
let you guys know.
Last one ever. Okay.
Yeah, just again,
Who knows?
I'm
Yeah,
just I'm just trying to share what I know with people, because a lot of people have reached out to me and asked, and that's the only
sure.
reason I do this. This one, the only reason this one's even starting is because Cern had someone reach out to him to try to get in contact with me, and he convinced me to do one more, and that's why we're here. So December 20th, it'll be 6 hours. It's a Saturday. You get a lot of my time. We're there to learn. We're there to work. We're there to get better. Again, I am not a guru. I'm just somebody who understands this topic very well. I'm here to show you what I know, and hopefully you can take all of the hiccups and mess ups I've done and my system and figure it out for yourself. Payments are due December 8th, no later. After that, we'll see what happens. But thank you, Randy, for letting me let everybody know. Final warning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for sending me, a couple of $1,000s of that total, for this ad. Oh no, you don't do that, right? No, this is just because we like him and we think that it is valuable, what he does over there. So what we're going to do, Nick, unless you have last words here, we're going to cut you loose and I'm going to put it on pause and wait until the numbers come out. So, you got any last words before we say adieu for now?
Yeah. So, yeah, actually, I do a little bit. So, right now, I just want everybody. Let's talk about a little bit about where we are with this whole AI space. And I just want to give you my opinion.
Oh yeah,
And if
you
you
were
want to
saying
hear,
about that. You were talking about how OpenAI, all of a sudden, OpenAI is we're hearing from multiple people, including maybe the CEO, that
yeah,
that they're way behind in this race.
yeah. So, if you guys go back, go to my YouTube channel, Investing Against the Grain. Um, and again, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm not plugging anything. But I'm just saying, if you go back there, I did a interview with Meet Investing. He's the Palantir guy, right? He's the Rob Maurer of Palantir, right? He's that guy. But I had an interview with him, I guess, over a month ago now, maybe. And in there, I told him that I think OpenAI won't last. And I think they're ones, and we kind of had a healthy debate about it, and I was explaining my point of view. And it's so funny to see what's happened over this last month, where all of a sudden you see other people coming out saying the same thing, the All In podcast saying this, and
Right.
then all the way to last night, I guess there's a leaked email from Sam Altman at OpenAI talking about a red alert. So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about like how I'm seeing this and like why was I able to see that and make such a crazy prediction,
Mhm.
right? Which hasn't even come true yet. So it's not like I'm right, but obviously there's noise about it now. My opinion right now is that in this AI space, you have three types of companies. There's three types of companies. You've got the company that's like an OpenAI, that's like an Anthropic. They're a startup. They are still private. They are still trying to figure out what the revenue generating arm is, how they're going to make money, how they're going to monetize. But they are a first mover and they are considered leaders in the space. Then you got the second type of company. And this is where you have the Metas, the Microsofts, the Amazons, throw an Apple in there. Like the Mag 7 companies, let's say it that way. The Mag 7 type companies where they're not considered the leaders in the way people on the street, the cab driver, would maybe know OpenAI or Anthropic, but they're the ones that are sitting there letting these other companies pretend that they're leading. But the truth is, the only ones that have staying power are these companies that have complete different businesses that are, when I say businesses, I mean, they
Yeah.
have multiple businesses within them. Like, think Google. Google is not a one-trick pony. Google has YouTube. They have ads. They have search. They have Waymo, right? On and on. Look at Amazon. Same thing. Apple, maybe a little more of a one-trick pony. But Meta's got all kinds of things now as well. Look at Tesla, right? So these companies have lots of different businesses within them that are very profitable and can fund this extremely intensive R&D capital intensive revolution that's happening.
Mhm.
All right. So that's the second type of company. And then you got the third type of company. And the third type of company is the ones I'm extremely bullish on. And those are the companies that you can sit there and you can very clearly see where they're going to go with AI, and that they have a clear moat around what they do. And obviously, I'm biased, but this is why I think Tesla is one of the only real AI companies out there, because only Tesla has this moat when it comes to autonomy. I wouldn't listen, even the humanoids part, I still think that they kind of have a moat around there as well. But even the humanoids space, they do not have as big of a moat as they do with autonomy. Because with autonomy, until you see any other auto manufacturer putting the necessary equipment in their cars, building out their cars, building out the data centers, buying the equipment for the data centers, having engineers, and to start training with all the data, and having the cars out there to capture the data, you can't even start to catch up to Tesla.
Yeah.
Waymo is seen as the exception, but Waymo's been working on this for what, 15 years?
Yeah.
And Tesla has surpassed them. It's beyond clear Tesla surpassed them.
Right.
So those are the three types of companies I see with AI. The first company, like I said, OpenAI, Anthropic, look, they're going to get a lot of usage. I think this ends with them getting acquired. I could see Microsoft eventually taking over OpenAI. I could see Amazon taking over an Anthropic. Google has their deep think I'm blanking, but they've got their own stuff internally. So I can see in a world where that plays out. Meta's kind of doing their own thing as well. They're kind of dipping their toe into the hardware space, kind of not trying to do models, right? So they're trying to figure their thing out. But Meta does have more of a clear path, the same way Amazon, Microsoft have, to where they can use AI to make money, and that's direct advertisement, right? So Amazon, Microsoft, and Meta, they can continue to generate revenue with AI the way they already do. You're not going to see Anthropic and OpenAI do that, right? So there's a clear way they can monetize that. I don't see that for anyone else other than Tesla. Tesla's the only one I see with a huge moat. No one else can replicate what they're doing. And it's happening right now. It's literally, we are at that moment. It's no longer, it's not if, it's when. No, it's now. We're now here. It's happening. Like, it's every single day, every single month, there will be more vehicles, there'll be more cities, there'll be another update, there'll be new countries. Like, it's going to happen. It's not this flip of a switch, ChatGPT moment everyone talks about, because there's friction, right? You got to put, you have atoms you have to move. Whereas with ChatGPT, I need to click a button, right? Like, that's a little different. But so I guess my whole point is, my opinion is that we're not in an AI bubble. We are just starting. But there are companies that are overly valued before they've ever demonstrated any value. Right. And those are the type of companies that get over their skis, start to dwindle, and get bought up. That's what I think happens. Again, like I said, start of this December 2nd is my opinion today. It might change, but I feel like it's a very clear trend what's happening, and it's inevitable. The Mag 7 are not going to become the HP, IBM, Netscape of the past. They're not. No. They're aware of that history. They're not going to have that history repeat. So they are doing everything they can to fortify, and they are going to be the ones, I think, that stand the test of the time. So that's kind of my point.
So you probably don't have time to get into this.
Let's go for it.
But Larry Goldberg said last night on my show, he says he thinks that Tesla will swap shares with both SpaceX and xAI, so that the three of them are converged. He used that word, convergence, over the weekend in a conversation with an Indian podcaster. I don't remember the guy's name. He's talked about it recently in terms of wanting the shareholders of Tesla to be able to take advantage in the case of SpaceX. I don't know that he said that with regard to xAI, but could you see a situation where, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I think that there's two winners. I think Google will be a big winner. I think Tesla will be the big winner, and or xAI. But when you can put it all together, kind of like we did in the book, the AI Rising, in the book, we talk about whoever controls the stack is going to win. And Tesla and Google control each of them control the most of that 8-layer stack. And especially if you add in Elon's other enterprises. So what do you think? You
Yeah.
think Larry's onto something?
Um, I think it's possible, but I don't know how the mechanics of that would
Oh
work,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another story.
or if it requires a shareholder vote.
Probably,
Um,
probably.
I I think SpaceX possible, XAI. I'm just not for it, to be
Oh, I
honest.
see. Okay.
I don't mind if we took like a little stake in XAI, but again, like my question is like, where's the revenue generating from that? Like, where's the profit? Like, where's the like? I don't even see them doing anything to get into all the hyperscalers or anything like that. Like, I don't see them pushing it, but I see Anthropic and OpenAI being pushed everywhere.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It's like SpaceX, yeah, that all day. But XAI, eh, I
Not as
like
clearly. Well, it's
like I've
got.
been
I
saying
guess
forever. I
I
think
guess.
LLMs are a commodity.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm putting together again the kind of the idea that Tesla needs some kind of the kinds of data and stuff that comes out of an LLM. The Twitter part of the or the X part of the XAI is obviously a very big deal. What Larry's suggesting is that once you merge the three, then you do a big capital raise, the kind of capital raise where you never need to raise capital again.
How dilutive would that be?
Well, who knows how all of it would be dilutive, but now you would have as Brian Wang likes to say, you would have three of the companies that he thinks will be the biggest companies in the world in one company. Not
Yeah.
one company, but more connected, if you will, officially. Now, does that become a real problem for the authorities in terms of a monopoly? I don't know, but it would be, uh, who will be the biggest? Will it really be Tesla, or will all that space capability make SpaceX the biggest?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't even know if a capital raise is needed, to
Mhm.
be honest. Like the only company that would need a capital raise would be XAI. Tesla doesn't need a capital raise, in my opinion, and neither does SpaceX. If anything, they could just go to the debt markets, and money's about to get cheap.
Mhm.
Um, everyone always says, I hear it all the time on YouTube where people talk about like, oh, Tesla needs to raise capital, whatever. Guys, Tesla's over 40 billion in cash, and
No debt.
you don't need a raise. Like everyone thinks like, oh, I just need capital and I can move faster. No, you need the right people. You need time. You need to have like money's one part of the equation,
Right, right.
but you can throw all the money at a problem. But if you don't have the people or the resources or the supply chain ready to go, or the third parties to help you, like the land, like if you don't have it, like there's nothing you can do. No amount of money you throw at it can solve the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think Tesla or SpaceX have a funding problem at all. So I don't think it's smart for them to raise capital right now. I don't want them to take debt. I just keep doing what they're doing. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you disagree? Like,
Oh no, I think that there's, from what I can tell, and very few people talk about this. From anything that I can tell, both the robots, the humanoids, and the cars, to the extent that they put them in their own fleet, will pay for themselves so quickly.
yes,
It's not even a
exactly,
cash flow issue. It will be a cash generator. It's,
exactly.
it's going to be
Yeah,
like, okay, we put a car in the fleet, 2 months later it's paid for, and from now on it's just throwing off cash. So
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, it's a virtuous cycle. Yes.
a really good virtuous cycle. And as soon as ship works, as soon as Starship works, Katie bar the door. I mean, if they have three launches in a row that do everything they're supposed to do and start actually putting real satellites, maybe on the third one out into space, there's almost unlimited. Who knows what they'll be able to do after that happens, especially now with the idea of putting data centers in space. It's
Yeah.
wild, wild, wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts.
Well, you had a last thought. I didn't know it was going
Yeah.
to be, because I know you have things to do, people to meet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be late. Yeah, it just bothers me when everyone keeps talking about bubble, bubble, bubble,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like I hear everybody, but like these are real businesses that are making real money,
Right.
and I'm telling you right now, nobody would be willing to give up their Grok, their ChatGPT, their Anthropic. No one's willing to give it up.
Yeah.
Like even if you say you are, all right, I'll give you 2 weeks. Anyone in the workforce, I'll give you 2 weeks before you're sitting there like, how did I ever send emails before? like how did I ever search? You tell me I have to go on Google and then I have to click a blue link and I have to read the whole thing to figure out what I'm trying to find. Like what? What is this?
I know
Archaic.
I'm on Grok 20 times a day at least. At least.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
talking to Grok nonstop.
Right. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine going back to days like, yeah, let me Google it. Nope, none of these first five blue links.
Yeah.
Okay, well, which one's the closest to what I would be? Oh, okay, here we go. Like,
Yeah. It'd be like giving up this.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. There's no way. No way to go
it,
back.
you'll be fine, but the usefulness and productivity is so powerful, so beneficial that you're
So,
like, nah, I'd rather live life with my phone than not.
yes. Yes. All right, then let me cut you loose so you can get on to that next meeting. And we will be back in just a minute with the numbers. Most of the pre-market today is kind of boring, but except there's this one number that it's worth sticking around for. We'll get to it in a second. So let's just start with Tesla. Tesla was down 0.21 today. And, after being all over the place all day long, that was maybe a pretty good result because it was way down at one point. And then it's down 0.27 in the pre-market as of this moment. Then let's get into the rest of the numbers. Let's go ahead and check what's going on with the bonds. And the bonds, which were, let's see, let's go ahead and take a look here. So the bonds are at 4.09 and it's up zero point 0.2 right now, basis points. So 4.09 is kind of where it was during the day. Then we can get into oil, which is also actually unchanged, or as Bradford Ferguson likes to say, unch. That's what it says right there, unch. And then got natural gas down a tiny bit, 0.21, still very high as we know. We've got gold up $16, sitting at 42.36, 42.37. We got silver up 0.48. It just continues to go up and up and up. We are at $59 at this point. Copper up 0.03%, sitting at 524 rather. And then the dollar mixed in this particular round. Now, here's the one that was worth waiting for. Are you ready for this? Bitcoin up 6,537. So when Tom Lee speaks, people listen, I guess. So Tom Lee said, no, it's still going to go back up. It's still going to be fine. You just have to give it a moment here. So Bitcoin up 7.63 in a single day, but Ethereum even more, up 9.44. But even after all that, it's only at 3,000 and Bitcoin's only at 91.9. So there's a long way to go just to get back to their all-time highs. All right, what about the equities for tomorrow morning? Well, you've got the Dow Jones 0.39 on the green side. You got the S&P 0.25, similar, and NASDAQ up 0.59. So all that bodes well for tomorrow. Interesting that Tesla right now is slightly down, even in the pre-market being slightly up on all these equities. Let's see. What else do I want to tell you? I want to tell you that later tonight there will be a Brian White show, so you want to hang around for that. I want to tell you that last night there was also a Brian White show, and you should have watched that one. So I'm going to put that card up right there. And then, just one more time, you want to start buying these. I don't know if I'm going to put in another order. Well, I probably will. If you guys order enough of them, I'll buy more. But if you want to make absolutely 100% sure that you get exactly what you want, place your order now. The information is down below. Same with the book. All the information that you need is down below. Now, there's one thing you might not know about on the book, and that is if you're outside the country, you can't get the Audible. I know it's ridiculous, it's crazy, but if you want an Audible, if you want an audio version, I'll send you the MP3, and I'll also send you a PDF of the book at the same time, so you get both for $15. And that way, as you're listening to it and you want to open up to the same page, In the book, you can see a picture or a graph or a chart or something like that, that obviously doesn't show up in the audiobook. All right, that's $15 a piece. Down below, you can check that out. Give the book as a gift also. This would be the best gift you can give anybody. One company has already sent us a picture. I showed it on X today of their stack, a couple of stacks of the books that they are giving out to their clients as Christmas gifts. So great idea, great way to go, a very inexpensive way to make somebody's holiday very special. All right, that's all I got for you right now. It's been great, as always, talking to you.